start, I just want to say that 4 weeks ago, I don't live in Woodstock, I live in West Spokane, and I work in Boyceville, and my town had a cataclysmic event. And a lot of my neighbors and friends are here today, and I just want to say they know that I'm barely tied to the earth anymore. But I'm going to be okay because of them. So, just thank you all for coming. I just really appreciate that you're here. Anybody who knows us knows that Steve's favorite movie is Men in Black. It's so simple. We watch it at least once a month. And Vincent played the bug. And when he's in a particularly good mood, my husband imitates him. So I'm thrilled to have you here, even though I have, in this seat, made a lot of fun of Full Metal Jack-Off, as I like to call it. I have so much I'd like to talk to you about. I love your films. I think you're a terrific, terrific actor. I loved you on TV. I love you in the movies. I've seen almost all the things you've been in. And I'd like to start by asking one thing you learned as an actor for a role that you would never have learned in real life. But here's something I want to know first. Do you carry a gun? I'd like to know who's got the concealed weapon. So really, I've talked to people who had to learn the violin, who had to learn ballroom dancing. Of course, everybody has to learn to shoot. What's one thing you had to learn to do for a role?
Gosh, I've had to learn so many things. It's the one thing about doing what I do for a living, or people like me, writers and directors and even producers, the fact that we're able to go all over the world and meet different people and commit ourselves to something that we would never commit ourselves to in regular life and learn about it. And you get so concentrated on one particular thing that you would have never entered unless you do what I do for a living. And then you leave it behind and you move on to the next thing. I guess I've done some pretty bizarre things. The only story that comes to mind is I did a film about Abbie Hoffman. And, especially when I was the age that I was when I did that film, I was much more antisocial than I am now. I think being a father has brought me out of my shell a bit. And I have 3 kids. And so I never was really a crowd kind of person. I was more of an interior personality type. And one of the things that playing that part did for me was, I can remember we were shooting in a park in Toronto, and we were using the park as a park that was in Chicago during the riots there. And
some people call it the demonstration, the convention. We call it the riot.
And it was during the Chicago 7 period. And I remember there was about 3,000 extras. And it was very difficult to get the extras to move around and be where they wanted for shots. And because there was police extras, there was activist extras, there was people protesting the protester extras, there was all kinds of things. So to get people to
like Woodstock on a Saturday.
To get people to move around was very difficult. There was only a certain amount of assistant directors that were there. And I was about 4 weeks into the part. I was still committed to playing Abbie. And I also had, some of the Chicago 7 with me there, and Abbie's wife as well, Anita. And that, I'll never forget this day, because it's so unlike me, or just unlike anybody really, to do something like this, unless you are one of those types of people, where I was able to get on top of movie car, a taxi cab, and say, without a loudspeaker or without a megaphone or anything, I went to 2,000 people. I went, everybody there, move over here. 2,000 people got up and sat where we wanted to. It was unbelievable because it was Abbie talking, not me. And so it goes to show you, when you're in the zone, how powerful it can really be. So, I could talk about, having to learn instruments, or talk about having to learn postures, or certain kinds of speech patterns, but the truth is, the key is that no matter what it is, whether you're learning the violin or you're learning how to just be a speaker or be a leader, it's the commitment that's the key to the discussion.